It felt like she needed a name for us to just kind of encourage her, like, come on, Fiona, like, you got this, rather than Baby Hippo or whatever. So each of the name keepers were able to suggest a name. Wendy suggested Fiona.
Like, one of her most striking features, of course, are her ears, which are adorable and kind of that fluted shape, and it instantly reminded us of Shrek and Princess Fiona.
If you check out a hippo's ears, they really do look like Shrek ears, or ogre ears. It just worked perfectly. So Fiona is sort of named after an ogre.
So Fiona was very fitting, and then especially when you look up the meaning of the word Fiona, which is fair.
And I believe BB's name means lady, or fair lady.
So it felt just perfect for her, like it just clicked. And once we started calling her it, I mean, she embodied it almost immediately. She didn't have to grow into that name. It fit her very, very well. Like most preemies, Fiona's immune system was not fully developed and was not ready to tackle a big, germy, nasty world. So one of the biggest focuses that we had was kind of trying to keep her space as clean and sterile as possible. So that was a constant effort on our part in terms of changing out your shoes, changing out your clothing. Everything that Fiona came in contact with was disinfected, sometimes multiple times a day.
So we went through towels and paper towels and Lysol disinfecting wipes, and we disinfected the floors every day, and we wiped down everything because we didn't want to spread anything to her.
Taking Fiona off of the oxygen was a big day. That was a big moment and really encouraging, and part of it just meant like she could have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. She wasn't tethered to an oxygen tank all the time.
Being more independent and walking more, we couldn't keep the cannula in her nose at this point.
It was nice to get her off it, I'm not going to lie, because chasing her around with that thing on her face, trying to hold it in, and then, you know, she's fighting you because she doesn't want it in, because it's annoying, and I don't blame her, but when it was done, we all breathed a sigh of relief, I think.
Even a little milestone like being able to take her off of that was a big victory in a lot of ways, because it was one less thing to worry about, gave her a little bit more freedom, and it was, again, a step in the right direction towards being a happy, healthy, normal baby.
It was a huge amount of effort. It's 24-hour care, and 24-hour care for months and months and months. So everyone essentially puts their lives on hold, which is what animal care is all about.
We didn't want her spending any time alone, and obviously early on she was in such critical condition that we could not leave her alone. So one of our care team staff moved to overnights.
It was crazy and awesome. Who gets to do that? So yeah, I never complained. It was a lot. Lack of sleep, but it was a lot of fun. It was who gets to hang out with the baby hippo at night.
So weighing her every day was pretty critical. It's one of the most valuable pieces of information we had every day.
Anytime you have an animal, even if they're mother reared, if you have an opportunity to weigh them, you can monitor them as they grow.
In the beginning, it was just picking her up and putting her on it, so it was pretty easy, and she was so light at the time, we could just pick her up, put her on the scale. And then it got to where it was easy when she would just walk onto the scale.
But I think the biggest gains that were legitimate gains that we ever saw were as many as 5 pounds in a single day. And to see her gaining weight on that kind of a scale was really encouraging and always made us happy.
And she hit 50, this is really good. Then she hits 100, that's really good. You know, once she hits 500, you know, we're all going to be excited. And we feel like she's doing better and better every day.
She was mostly staying healthy, she was doing well with the bottles, and we're like, cool, now we can kind of focus on growing up a little and becoming a hippo. And mostly that meant focusing on water skills.
There you go.
It was really interesting trying to put like pool noodles underneath her to help her have her legs under her and try and exercise those muscles. I mean, standing up is something that hippos should be able to do within hours, and it took her weeks.
So it was really important as far as playing with her in the pool to gain her muscle strength, because she wasn't able to walk for so long and was very weak at the beginning. So the pool definitely is the best way for her to get exercise. When she was still using the noodles, we still use the noodles under her. And I think the first time she put her face underwater, we were all just like, first time parents, and we were just like, oh God, you're gonna drown. No, wait, she's a hippo. She's designed to do this. I knew she was totally fine to go in the water, but I was also really nervous to let go of her head and let her nostrils go underwater. And then when she did, she just seemed to have fun and kind of perk up and do really well.
we knew at that point that she was strong enough to at least be in there with support. And the fact that we were able to have people there holding her all the time and we didn't just throw her into a pool and let her go, that would have made me very nervous. But the fact that it was managed the way it was, didn't have too many nerves about that. She sort of began to thrive a little bit more once we could get her into water because that's her natural habitat. So she, day one when we got her in the water, she was playful, she wanted to move. She wore out really quickly, so she couldn't be in the water for very long, but she wanted to be in the water. And she actually would feed better when she was in the water, certainly much more active, and just overall her value started to look better once we got her in a pool.
And like many children who get on the playground, she was just so thrilled and excited to be in the water. It's such a natural thing for hippos. And once she was starting to feel better and getting stronger, it was just like, I want to play all day, every day.
So her pools got bigger and bigger as she got bigger, and we knew she could navigate deeper waters.
You can kind of slide her around.
Yeah. And then that blue pool everyone sees in our videos.
I think if she could still get in that blue pool, she would get in that blue pool. She loved that thing.
Once she was strong enough to be in any pool, you know, and able to stand and handle those depths of, 2 feet or so and go up and down, it kind of felt like, of course she can do the next thing, and she'll need a bigger pool so that she can practice, porpoising and have the space she needs.
For her to have the freedom to get in that pool and move around and or even just sleep. Like, that's what hippos do. They sleep in the water. So we would just sit in there and let her play for as long as she wanted to, and then she would just take a nap on us. That's what she would do with Mom. So she needed to be a normal hippo and get off of that bed and out of that room and be in a pool.
So in the wild, a baby hippo would always be with Mom and would likely be in a bloat with several other hippos. So they're not solitary animals. She wouldn't be by herself. So there was a big emphasis and a focus on having companionship and always having a buddy there kind of supervising, making sure she's doing okay, and also just keeping her company, which none of us minded.
It was amazing to see once she kind of started to get the momentum, just how headstrong and how it's indestructible she really was as far as like her personality and stuff.
And I think once she hit about 60 pounds, 50 or 60 pounds, it was like, okay, this is getting a little sketchy now. We can't keep picking her up anymore. She's got to do this on her own.
I know going up and down the ramp was awesome because eventually she was really hard to pick up. After she reached about 80 pounds, it was, unsafe for her and for us to be lifting her into the pool all of the time.
At night, before we used the ramp in the pool at night, I just introduced her to the ramp, just playing flat on the floor, just so she'd see it or feel because the bottom of it was kind of sandy or sandpapery. So to get her used to the feel of it underfoot, I would try to walk her across the ramp just flat on the ground.
But then that's where that relationship building comes in, because she trusted the people that were around her and because they were there encouraging her and telling her, it's okay, you got this, and kind of showing her and guiding her. She's smart. She figured it out right away. And we were relieved, too, because then it meant, nobody was going to be blowing their back out trying to lift Fiona anymore. That was one of those moments that was like such a little mini triumph, and it was such a small thing, but for her, it was a big deal.
Big swim. Woo! The first time she walked up a ramp and went into her pool and did a little mini roll, we were ecstatic because she's a hippo and acting just like a hippo.
I think a lot of people said that a lot. She's going to be every time she'd hit a milestone, she's a real hippo now.
And we were lucky. She innately, even though being raised by humans is not ideal, she still had that hippo, which I was pleasantly surprised by.
6 weeks premature, like just really not ready for the world. To whatever the world has, I can handle it, is incredible. Because she was 6 weeks premature, I mean, you would expect that there would be a lot more setbacks for her. She'd be slower to develop, or she'd hit her milestone slower. But she has hit every weight goal and developmental milestone that a normal hippo calf would have hit from, if we estimate what her real birth date should have been.